English translation 60-second contact. Thursday, 12th August 1976, 15:03 ARs.
I came alone to clarify a few things. As you know, there have been several very unfortunate incidents in the last few days. For the first, Mario Bertozzi, in collaboration with Hans Jacob and Michael Ahrens, for example, tried to destroy all our work with rather unfair and primitive writings. Further, on my holiday, Ilse von Jacobi also unreasonably reproaches me in a twisted and false manner, whereby she refers to the first book by Adamski as supposedly corresponding to the truth, but that the second one is wrong. Her assertions go so far in her unreasonableness that she begins to assert things that have no truth at all. This is very unfortunate because she would have been the right person to process our reports into a book form. But if she now begins to react in this manner and releases untruthful things, then it would be irresponsible to leave her in charge of this task. The reasons for her action in this regard lie on the one hand in the recognition of Adamski's lies and deceits, whose first book also corresponds only to charlatanry and deceit, as does the second, and on the other hand in the fact that she has maneuvered herself into a matter through which she suffers from conceits. This matter concerns a so-called spirit guide. All these unworthy things together no longer allow her to continue to concern herself with the preparing of a manuscript of our contact reports, which she would in future change to such an extent that they would no longer correspond to the truth and the purpose. The result of this is that you try to find another power person or take over the preparation of the manuscript yourself. Furthermore, in Miss Margaret Rufer, her very old damage broke through again, trying to destroy everything. Her unreasonableness thus revealed already borders on infamy, especially the unreasonable and quite malicious accusations. The result of all these things is that I cannot be responsible, in any wise, to simply go on holiday and leave everything in Manara's hands. The boundless irrationality, especially of Margaret Rufer, forces me to renounce my vacation and to stay here to try to settle things. I am therefore not angry, but I feel that all this is a rather malicious and infamous enterprise. Mario Bertozzi and Ilse von Jacobi cause me the fewest problems, but Margaret Rufer, who has gone down such infamous paths and with her stubbornness and her lust for power, and also with an unmistakable racial hatred and many other things, deprives me of my holiday. But it does not matter for you, because she has enough time at her disposal and does not need the certainty of hard and difficult work. Her egotism in this respect is almost remarkable. But especially with her, it is unreasonable that she allows herself to be overcome by her old mistakes again and have to relive her misery again, because she is very knowledgeable in the matters of the truth, against which she fully consciously rebels again and tries to destroy it.
I am very sorry about all this, especially that your holiday plans are sunk. Although I am earnestly somehow happy about it. You know, how am I supposed to say it to you? Damn it again, it is just...
You are very sweet. Your way of telling me your feelings is a soothing remedy for me. Thank you. You are really very kind.
Oh, girl, it is just all so devilishly hard when you want to say things that...
I understand you already. Do not speak further about it.
Thank you. You know, there are many other things that are not animated by evil traits.
Sure, for example, Herbert Runkle, whose thoughts came to me about 3 weeks ago, or are they already 4? In such a loving form that I tried to show him my connection through the transmission of feelings.
You have. Girl, I wanted to ask you about that. Herbert Runkle had indeed made a number of observations in this regard. Here I also have a little letter from him if you want it.
Surely I am very happy about it. May I see it?
But of course it belongs to you.
Sim Yase reads the letter.
These are very kind words. Give Herbert my heartfelt thanks and loving greetings. I am unusually happy that he has found the way to you.
I will be happy to tell you. You know, he also gave me a gigantic joy. He recently wrote me a letter that almost made me cry. Never before have I received such a loving and kind letter from a person of this world.
Certainly he has a form of writing that deeply touches you in its complete honesty and openness. Please tell him that he does not need to thank us, because everything is given by us in honest love.
He will certainly be very happy about it, which also pleases me again.
So there are 3 of us.
That is very nice. But now look here. This is a letter from a certain Mrs. She claimed that she was in contact with Ascot and so on. She also wants to get in touch with you now.
Simyase deals with the letter.
This is really too much of a good thing. How can this woman claim to be in contact with Ascot? And then this delusion that this woman suffers from is very unfortunate.
Could you perhaps ask Ascot if there are not some things that could be true about it?
I will do it for you, but I can already explain to you that everything is based on deception or pathological imagination.
I suppose so too. But tell me, is it possible that Ascot can answer me directly in any form?
Sure, if she comes into our universe for this purpose, then she can give you the answer in telepathic form.
I would be very grateful for that.
Then I will try, but you have to be patient for a few days.
That does not matter. But now another question. Is it possible for me to contact your High Council directly?
Why is that?
I do not want to say.
Then you thus have secrets, as we have assumed for a long time. But, well, if you want, there is a possibility for you to do this. I will explain the way of this communication possibility to you, but it is only meant for you. Do you really not know this possibility yourself?
I will certainly keep it to myself. I would not know the latter from where.
Then listen.
Then I guess I will have to practice a bit and make a lot of effort.
Sure, but you will manage it.
I will get to it as soon as I can. But tell me, can you tell me how many years Manara or her people are ahead of our overall technological evolution?
This is no secret, and Manara will answer the question herself.
But I would like to know it now, and from you already.
As you like. They are 350 years. 350 years less than with us.
How is that possible?
When Manara's people left the Earth, they had the same level as our people. But through Ascot's civilization, our people were raised 350 years higher, while the other peoples are still in the stage of being taught quickly, because they were given this opportunity only a few years later.
Aha! Then the technological evolutionary stage is almost the same. This reassures me very much, because Margaret Rufer made such funny remarks about the Negroid ancestry of Manara.
You are saying that wrong, because it means because of the Negroid lineage.
Thank you for the teaching. You are really doing it. Now you are already teaching me German. But thank you very much for that.
That was a pleasure. But look, when Margaret Rufer makes such assertions, it is only due to her long-established racial hatred, which she is only partially able to recognize today. In her innermost, however, it still blazes very strongly. It is a matter that still leads back to her life in another personality about 2,000 years ago, and that she now draws upon from the storage banks. In the time to come, you should all make a great effort to teach her all the necessary things, and to be helpful to her in her burdensome things. She must, however, learn to accept open and honest words, and to put aside her aggression against them. She knows very well that only clear and open words lead to the goal, and that diplomatic expressions are equivalent to lies.
We will all try very hard, you can be sure of that.
I am convinced of that, because I know about the feelings in you.
Beautiful. Do you still have time to answer a few questions?
If there are not too many, then certainly.
Okay. Do you know anything about the Russians in the 50s or 60s shooting a space capsule into free space that was said to have been manned by 3 men and a woman? Further on, is it also true then that the 4 people with their capsule got off course and shot out into space, presumably to end their lives there?
Such an event is unknown to us. If that were really so, then we would have to know. On the other hand, however, in the 1950s, a disk was shot from a private station into free space, which was occupied by 4 people. They were a woman and 3 men of Russian origin. The originators of this enterprise were one of the groups that, after the Second World War, had seized the plans of the flying discs in Germany and set up their own organization. We inexplicably leaked some data about these events, which Karl and Annie Veit in Wiesbaden in particular twisted and falsified, claiming that the disk was a Russian space capsule.
To my knowledge, it was said that 2 Italian radio amateurs intercepted signals from this spaceship, or whatever it was.
That is completely impossible, because the total destruction of the voice and radio signal traffic, as well as that of the command functions of the ship, were to blame for the fact that the ship got off course and drifted into free space.
Then it must have leaked out differently.
I explained that, but it is inexplicable to us.
So what about the questions about Amata or Vamata? Will Quetzal still answer her before he leaves? And those things of Mr. Rise in Munich?
Regarding Amata's questions, it cannot be arranged until Quetzal is back, because under no circumstances will he postpone or simply give up his vacation. With regard to Mr. Rise's concerns and book, however, I have to say that the records are quite erroneous, because they originate from a hierarchical view that is to be connected with a technology. So Mr. Rise puts his only approximately understandable mental forces and facts into a technology even more incomprehensible to him, whereby he unfortunately presses everything into hierarchical forms. Therefore, the records are of absolutely no value and of no importance. I have tried to read the book The Chronicle of Akakor, but the things contained therein are completely unknown to me. All of us have tried very hard to get to grips with this matter and to check the information given in the book. Unfortunately, however, everything was without result, and we could not find any information confirmed. When we are all back from holiday, however, we will again make an effort about these concerns. We might have missed something, but this possibility is not very great. So you have to wait at least 6 months for a final answer.
Of course, there is no hurry. What is the book called again?
The Chronicle of Akakor. By the way, I brought the things back to you.
Thank you very much. So you mean that there is not much to think of the records, etc. of Mr. Rise's?
Certainly, because they come from a lost way of thinking of hierarchical unvalues, as they correspond in this case to the bridge to freedom.
I understand. That is very unfortunate.
Earth humans have a very hard time breaking away from their religious or semi-religious and other heresies. With open eyes, they run into their ruin and believe the swindlers and deceivers, like false prophets like Mario Bertossi and Hans Jacob, who help Bertossi and Reitz in the address delivery service.
Oh, well, you already know that? We have also brought that out ourselves.
Sure, I know that. You should take back this letter here from this Mrs. Even these malicious slanderings by Mario Bertossi should not be absent from our reports.
Oh my goodness, is this really supposed to be in there? Maybe a copy of our letter that we wrote to Mario Bertossi, Hans Jacob, and Michael Arendts?
It would be very good, because it is the only way that we can see how bad and wrong elements are trying to destroy the truth. Remember that the contact reports in their present form will be spread all over the world and partially already are, so that the world is thus informed about the intrigues and other dirty machinations against the truth by those who seek to fraudulently and deceitfully kill and destroy the truth another time.
I do as you say, because somehow I see that you are right. The Bertossi letter, on the other hand, has also achieved exactly the opposite of what it actually wanted to achieve. The shot from his own shotgun hit him himself, as well as the dear trustee Hans Jacob in Wetzikon and some others who mix with Mario Bertossi.
It had to come to this.
You are probably right. But now I have a very crazy question. What do you do with any items that get lost, and that you cannot get back for any reason? What do you do when you just cannot get it back, maybe because it is in another person's possession?
Your question is not crazy, but very reasonable. But why do you ask?
It is because I have heard that some objects simply disappeared or burned or somehow dissolved when they were found by terrestrial people, and when the objects belonged to some kind of alien intelligence.
The reason for this lies in a total elimination of these objects. We and many other intelligences are able to totally eliminate lost things in various forms or simply burn them to ashes. This happens by very far-reaching impulse transmitters, which are set into operation by a destruction mechanism built into each device. However, these destruction mechanisms are usually only built into devices and objects that we take with us to foreign and still lowly developed worlds, for safety reasons, so that the relevant still low-standing life forms of a planet do not get a hold of possibilities for advancement which would be dangerous for them. These devices or objects equipped with such destruction mechanisms are usually made of plastic, for example this small device here.
What is this white thing?
It is a selective warner.
That makes me very knowledgeable, because I have no idea what this could be.
It is a warning device that indicates to me with a fine singing tone that if, for example, someone is approaching us now, and whose brainwave patterns are not recorded in the device, by which I thus mean that it registers them.
Aha, and if you lose that, you might be in a lot of trouble, huh?
Certainly not, because we always carry a second device with us. You see, this one on the belt here.
Okay, you got me. But can you perhaps demonstrate to me how you can destroy such a thing?
For the purpose of your education, sure. Look, I just throw it here on the ground, and now just step back a little. So yes, now look at this belt device. If you now touch these two touch surfaces here, the warning device will set itself on fire and turn into a mushy and brown-black plastic mass. Look at the device lying there and operate the two touch surfaces.
I allow myself to operate it.
Fabulous. This thing really does smoke. Does it really burn to ashes?
Sure, if you let it burn long enough.
Can I have the leftovers? I want them analyzed.
Sure, but then you should extinguish the mass, otherwise nothing remains. But do not touch it until 112 hours have passed, because until then certain radiations caused by the fire are escaping.
Well, do you not think that our scientists can analyze important things out of the stuff?
This possibility is very small, because this type of plastic, which no longer reveals its original composition, is probably common on the Earth in a similar form. But now we should separate. I have just heard human voices on the street.
It seemed that way to me too. Then take care, dear girl, and come back quite soon.
I will be concerned about it. Farewell, dear friend, and pay my dear greetings to all.